All right, here we are, Repair Shop Reckoning episode. I don't give a shit number because we've lost track and I'm not good at with numbers, right? LOL.
I don't know. I don't even know how many we have. I mean, I can go count them on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not hard. We're not that many.
No, we just go ahead and spit. I really don't care about it. I just like talking about shit. So
Yep.
figure we'll be back. Welcome back to the Repair Shop Wrecking, the race to zero. Today, we're going to switch it up, seeing how I've already spit so much knowledge and pissed everybody off. I made a lot of people happy at the same time about repair shops and the automotive and truck world. Let's switch gears over to collision. How do I know about collision? Well, I'm a master collision tech, number one. Number two, guess what I own? A collision shop. And guess what's my most unfavorite business? The collision shop.
Why is that, Kevin?
Yeah. The collision world is the collision shop world is the only business that you have somebody telling you how much you can charge, how much you can mark stuff up. They tell you where to buy the stuff, how much to pay for the stuff, how much they're going to pay you for the stuff. And guess what you get to do? You get to warranty it because you're the one that bought the stuff. And I'm speaking of the insurance companies. Okay, it's ridiculous. Okay, these lobbyists have made it so the insurance companies run our business. And unfortunately, a lot of the independent shop owners, now the smaller ones, are going out of business because, number one, they don't know their numbers. And number two, the insurance companies are now steering jobs away from independents and saying, hey, if you don't go to a DRP, which is a direct repair facility, there won't be a warranty. Well, most customers don't say, well, wait a second, if I take it to my guy, Kevin or Jason, will they warranty stuff? Absolutely, we give a warranty. But the insurance companies decided that they can go ahead and steer stuff away, even though it's illegal. They have their ways of doing it. They've gotten rid of the adjusters that actually knew what the hell they're doing. Now you have a bunch of people that have gone through 3 or 4 hour classes that sit behind a desk and look at pictures and decide, oh, this dent is the size of a softball. I should be able to fix that in an hour, even though they've never even fixed a car. They went through a class. Now they're going to introduce AI into it, so it might actually get a little bit better, as much as I hate to say it.
Better.
So that's kind of what we're facing in the collision industry. So what I did at my collision shop, I put a trailer parts store in and started doing trailer repair, painting, and stuff like that too, to offset some of these money-losing jobs. A lot of collision shops don't know their numbers, just like a lot of shop owners don't know their numbers. So therefore, they don't even know if they're making money or losing money on these jobs. And the funny thing about the collision industry software, it's almost like it's written by the insurance companies because there's no profit calculators built into it. All the times and all the overlaps and all that are built into it. But once again, I can't say this enough, there's no profit calculator built into it. So every insurance company pays different. Imagine that, right? And they go around and they say, we go ahead and do surveys of areas and we're paying you the prevailing wage, which is absolute bullshit, okay? Let me give you an example. You get a collision-related mechanical repair on a water pump that, say, the front clip is off of a car, and you have to do the water pump in the meantime. You get 2 hours labor on collision-related mechanical repair. That same water pump, you could take that car next door, they would get paid 4.5 hours. How does it work? It doesn't. And the problem is a lot of these collision shop owners, the independents, they really don't know their numbers, so they don't know if they're making money. I can't say that enough. You're not making money. The more jobs you do, the faster you're going out of business. And I see that going on a lot. And now the big boys are coming in and they're buying all these little shops up.
When I see this being, I've seen what we've been working with the shop, the regular, your regular side. Now you're looking at the collision side, where it's so important to know your numbers because you don't have somebody, you're not controlling it. And I can imagine you get really backwards really quickly.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example. Melissa Merrim's car.
Yeah.
Shane calls me and Melissa wrecks her car. I'm going to bring it to you. I mean, okay. So they brought it to us and it was a $7,900 job. And the insurance company wrote the estimate on it and everything. And we looked it up and it was a decent estimate the way they wrote the sheet and everything. But when we plugged in what they wanted to pay for all the aftermarket parts and all that stuff and what the labor they wanted to pay, compared to what we charge, we were going to lose like 9% doing that job. We were going to actually lose money doing that job. So I ended up getting a hold of a friend of mine that owns a shop, collision shop. He's a DRP. I sent it to him. He fixed it. You know, so it's crazy that a lot of these guys will just say, "Oh, that's an $8,000 job." And what ends up happening, a lot of these guys, they say it's an $8,000 job, so I'll go ahead and they got it written for a tailgate. I'll go ahead and bump this tailgate, so the customer will get a 10 pounds of bondo on their back tailgate. You know, they'll go ahead and they have it written for a rear tail light because this one's scratched. Well, we'll go ahead and sand it and put it so they're not even putting all the parts on to try to stay in business. So the insurance company's forcing these guys to be crooked.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy. So we do things a little bit different here. I moved into the medium and heavy duty truck and trailer and stuff like that where there's not a lot of repair books, so I don't have to fight as much with the insurance companies, But, I feel sorry for these guys that own these repair shops, these collision shops that are mom and pops and they're fixing cars. I mean, they're not getting paid nothing. I mean, these guys are lucky if they're freaking pulling, 10% net at the end of the year. I mean, I know I talked to a lot of people from the banks and stuff like that who I've become friends with through a lot of these groups. These like collision shops are, always one catastrophe away from being out of business. Now, with that being said, I'm sure there's great collision shops that know their numbers and do just fine, but it's kind of hard because you kind of have to be crooked. And that's where I just will not cross that line. So I just moved into doing other stuff. We do trailer repairs, trailer sandblasting, painting, stuff like that, where the margin's a lot better. I realized that last year when the trend in our business, the collision business, even in the medium and heavy duty truck, the trend was, man, it was really going down. And I said, well, guys, we're looking at our net margin in this net profit in the shop, and it's like down. Like I think it was like 12%. And I mean, we're doing everything we can, the fair way. So I said, you know what, we're going to take the money, we're going to put a trailer parts store in here and start doing trailer service, trailer parts, selling parts over the counter, sandblasting, painting, stuff like that to offset the collision. And it's got us back up where we need to be. But can imagine being a collision shop owner and you're sitting there going, man, I just don't know what to do. I don't have the money to put a trailer store in here, stuff like that. Well, you better get with the times because you're not going to fight. You're not going to win against these insurance companies. They got way more money than we do. I mean, take a look at what these CEOs of the insurance companies are making, but they won't pay you for freaking shop supplies. These guys are making.
They're getting their bonuses.
You're getting their bonuses of freaking $60 million.
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of crazy. And not to mention, okay, let's talk about your deal. The tree falling on your house.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about that. Homeowners.
Yeah, and it's funny when you talk about this. I saw that same exact thing with the tree falling in my house, and you talked about how they hire third party people to come out and do the estimates. And I had this guy come out, look like he looked like an albino. Like he was like, I say that because he's never been out in the sun, let alone out on a roof. And he met our contractor out, and he was like super nervous to talk with the contractor. Like he was just, he gets up on this roof and he looked like he was going to fall. He was uncomfortable. He was wearing a big beekeeper's hat, like this big hat. I was cracking up laughing. But so the guy comes out and then he tells us, oh, I got to go back to training. So he was like literally had to leave our house and go back and watch some videos online so he could learn more about what he was doing. And then he wrote this big long report. It was like 68 pages long, and it didn't get until like page 64 until he detailed what our damage was. And so the insurance agency was looking at our claim, and they closed it out because they're like, there's nothing wrong. He didn't put that the tree was on the house and the actual details of the thing until like page 65 of 68. And so they were like, yeah, clearly there's nothing wrong. Luckily, my brother is my insurance agent, and he was like, hey, a tree fell on your house, right? Like that's what happened. And yeah, that was just step one. It was a long process to actually then get. They wanted our contractor to paint the soffits, just like take them out and flatten them out and like repaint them so they could match. And like my contractor's like, I can't do that. It's gonna peel. It's gonna look stupid.
And that's what you get when you get somebody that doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. We had a friend of mine's motorhome in here, got hit by a deer. And right behind the driver's door, it's an E450. Right behind the driver's door, there's a little mini wall where the body comes out for the RV part of it, the deer freaking went right, took that corner right off, and went right down the side of it, blew the generator door off it, bent the exhaust pipe for the generator. So this guy comes out, and actually Dan came and he brought us a check. And he's like, yeah, they say you should be able to fix this for $800. I'm like, $800? I go, anybody that knows what Phylon looks like, Phylon's got a texture to it. The insurance agent's just like, yeah, or the adjuster's like, yeah, they could just go ahead and cut that out and put a piece in there and, you know, just use some Bondo or Duraglass and put it in there and it'll be fine. We're like, well, wait a second. How can we get the same texture? We can't just cut a section of something with a pattern in it and then just put another piece in there and go ahead and sand her up and paint her. So we're like, yeah. So we wrote it up, and I think our estimate was like, $6,800. We had to pull the wall behind the seat. That wall goes in behind the seat, driver's seat. We took all the trim out, pull the whole wall, build a new wall, because Phylon comes in a roll. So you buy Luan, and you buy this special glue. It's like $700 a gallon. Then you have to cut the Phylon out. You adhere it to the board, to the Luan, and then you cut the shape out. I mean, it's quite the process. And put the wall in. Well, the guy comes out here and he's arguing with us, and he's like, "You can do this, you can do that." Well, I looked up the manufacturer's specs that basically saying, "No, you can't just section a piece of Phylon in." Like, what the hell?
They're asking you to be crooks.
Oh, yeah, subpar repairs. So I'm just like, absolutely not. So we got into it right in the office, and he started arguing. Like, you can argue all you want. You're a clown. Oh, now we're starting name calling? Yeah, because that's what you are. You're just missing the red nose. You're going to sit here and argue with us. We're professionals. We're actually certified. We actually do this stuff. You're going to tell us how to do it, and you're going to tell us how to do it at a fraction of the price to save your company money. So push came to shove. We kind of got back and forth, and he ended up basically going with our recommendation after we caused so much shit, and we ended up doing the job right.
How much when you give pushback do you win against the insurance agency?
I probably win 100% of the time when I do the job. I had an MCI bus, an older one was all aluminum, corrugated aluminum, and the whole panel was bent down the one side, the whole side of it from the tail light to the front compartment. And they said, well, you just go ahead and bump it. The guy came with an estimate that says bump and polish aluminum side. Well, anybody with their right mind knows once aluminum's dented, it doesn't bump back
out.
So I wrote an estimate up. It was like $13,000. We had to put like 7 panels on it, not to mention even finding the panels and all the glues and all this stuff. So we write the estimate and stuff, and they're like, you've lost your mind. We're like, that's fine. Pay us for our estimate fee and take it on out of here. They took it on out of here. Guess what happened a week later? They took it right on back in here. So we put some aluminum onto it because nobody else would do it. Okay, it's crazy that what these guys do not know, but they come and they just try to throw a check at somebody. The newest thing we're dealing with is they will tell the customer, send us pictures of your damage. The customer will send the pictures of the damage. They'll send a one-party check to the customer.
Yeah.
So what does that customer do? He gets $10,000 in his hand. The car ain't that bad, or the truck's not that bad, and they cash the check and go on with their life. So what we started doing here is I charge $185 for an estimate fee, an admin fee, and if the vehicle leaves, you pay that $185, you bring it back, we'll take it off your bill. Because I'm sitting here writing estimates. Yep. These guys are going and cashing the checks. We're writing these estimates for free.
Yep.
So I figure at least if we start writing the estimates.
And you give a little bit more of a seed planted for them to come back in.
Right. I mean, I cannot even tell you. I had a trailer here about a month and a half ago that the guy's estimate from the insurance company was $1,700. Our estimate was $26,000. The whole ass end of this freaking travel trailer is ripped off. The bathroom was hanging out the back of it, the wall. And they said, well, all you have to do is push the wall in there, put a piece of angle iron in there, screw it together, and go ahead and repair this corner, and it'll be fine. So once we wrote it, the structure was ripped up at the top and at the bottom. The section of the roof was ripped and stretched. I mean, it needed a whole new rear wall because there's nothing left to do it. It needed the spray insulation put back in. The bathroom cabinet was bad. I mean, you name it. It was done. They ended up, when they came out here, we gave them their estimate. They're like, oh my God, this is a total loss. We're like, yeah, no shit. But, we go through this over and it's like it's rerun. It's like Groundhog Day.
Yep.
They try to get these people to accept a little bit of money, and then they cash a check, and then the insurance company is out with it. It's crazy. I got one right now that they drove it into a car wash. It's a Transit high top. They drove into a car wash that was too short, pinned it. So when they started crunching, what do? They panic and punch it. So they really pinned the bitch.
Oh, man.
So it needs all the new roof panels, all the new roof bows and stuff like that. It's like a $26,000 job. And we told the adjuster, hey, you know, the headliners are creased. Well, when you maybe take the roof off, it'll relax the headliners. We're like, yeah, we don't think so, but okay, you're the pro. So the other day we got the roof off it and looked at the headliners. Nope, they need to be replaced. That's another $5,000. So I sent him the supplement, and he's like, I'll let you know if we're going to approve it. How can you just not approve the repair? I said, so I wrote him an email, and I said, hey, you know, here's the Ford TSB about headliners and stuff, about they have to be replaced if they're kinked or crooked or kinked or bent or anything because they're non-repairable, you know, and they ended up doing it, but they were going to try to not fix well, it's really not that bad. Can you get like a steamer and try to steam it to get the creases out of it? No. You fucking come and get this
pair of pants. What the fuck?
Yeah, you come and use a fucking steamer to get this. What the fuck is wrong with you? You know, I got another one. I can go on and on. There's a guy out there, the black trailer. It's got interior in it. He swung around in his backyard. It was muddy. He jackknifed it. He put a crease in I think there's 8 panels on it. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 have a crease in it, and the 6th one's got a hole in it. The insurance company, we wrote it was like $7,200 to pull the interior apart because this is a newer trailer. So all the 4x8 panels are black, number one. And number two, they're not screwed, they're glued. That's the new way they're gluing these trailers together. So we're like, okay, we have to pull the interior out of it. It's a beautiful interior. The guy put like this white drywall on for his race car trailer. We have to pull all the interior out. That's going to be 5 hours. And we have to heat it up so we can push the panels off the panels before it so we don't screw them up. You got to do it from the back because you start digging into them, you're going to scratch the panel before it's not damaged. They come back with the estimate of $1,300 and $1,400. Well, you know, 4 and 5 panel should be replaced. Number 6, we don't really know if that was in the accident, and we're only going to give you an hour to undo the interior. So we're like, yeah, you're funny. So we send it back. We're like, yeah, sorry, we're not doing the job. So then they sent it back. They gave us like $3,000, which is still like freaking 60% less than we were going to do it for. So we told them no, and they ended up taking it. And the guy's like fighting with him. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's a brand new trailer. It's got holes in it. I'm like, I don't know what you're going to do either, but you need to deal with your insurance company and possibly sue them to get the job done. You know, and I'm sure these guys, you know, they sit there and they go, oh my God, this guy, they live it. The thing is about it, I've offset it a little bit here with the trailer repair and stuff, so I'm not going broke. I don't know how these guys in the collision world are making it.
Yeah.
You know, and you run into, you know, so you end up becoming desperate. Here's where I draw the line, and I always have, is we run into the situation all the time here where these guys come in here and they need a repair done on something and say, you know, cab corners is a good one. Cab corners to do them right, you need to cut them off and put new rockers and cab corners on, right? Well, it's expensive. I mean, it's really expensive. Then these guys are like, well, can't you just sand it down and, you know, and clean it up a little bit and just paint it? And, you know, I won't care if it doesn't look perfect. But my answer to that is I will. Because you're going to go somewhere and it's going to start rusting or look like shit, and somebody's going to go, who did that? And you're going to say Motor City Truck Collision. Yep. You're not going to say, well, I'm a cheap ass. I really didn't want it done right. I told the guy just make it look a little bit better.
You're going to totally blame that company.
Yeah. Well, Motor City Truck Collision. God, dude, they do shit work. Okay, then we have a bad reputation. So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. It's a tough road to go. So these guys crying about, you know, flat rate and all that stuff, these mechanical technicians, you know, here's one. We had a Sprinter, a Mercedes Sprinter came in, and it needed a door, a sliding door, and it was damaged. The pillar was. And the adjuster was a third-party adjuster. He came out here, and our labor rate is 185 on them, 185.32 on them. And he came out and he said, yep, unfortunately, the only thing we can do is give you $100. I really went to bat for you for the insurance company, and, you know, they won't budge. And we're like, well, Don't know what to tell you then. I said, so I got an idea. I told Jim, I said, man, I just find that hard to believe that no insurance company will ever freaking bend. I go, let's fucking call them. So we called the actual adjuster in charge of the claim over there at the insurance company. It was Fremont, I think. And we're like, hey, we got this truck over at our shop. Our labor rate's 185.32. Can you work with us? The adjuster that came out said he went to bat with us and he won't do it. And we're like, listen, can you work with us? Meet us somewhere in the middle. He says you'll pay 100. Our labor rate's 185. What can you do? The guy's like, yeah, no problem. We'll pay you 140. And I'm like, all right, we could do it for 140. That fucking insurance adjuster, the independent, he lied.
Yeah.
He flat ass lied. So now a rule here is when we have a third party adjuster that comes out and he tells us that's all they can pay, we go right around them. We call the insurance company. And guess what? 9 times out of 10, they work with us. Okay, so yes, they screw you on a lot of stuff, but on some of these trucks and stuff like that, these high top vans and stuff like that, they can't get them done. So they kind of have to maybe adjust the prevailing wage a little bit to get the job done. Now, I'm sure it doesn't work on a cruise or a Taurus or you know what I mean, something out there that everybody and their brother can work on because once again, these guys don't
you have
know.
People that will drop their pants,
right? Because they don't know what shit costs them. So they're, oh yeah, I'll do that job. This is a $7,900 job. They don't even realize they're not even making any money on it. And you guys want to talk about, the mechanical world, how hard it is to find a mechanic. Oh my God, a body man, which I would call a combo man. Everybody wants a combo man, a guy who could bump, paint, and everything. That's like finding a unicorn. You just can't find these guys that do it. So when you do find them, you got to pay them very well. And in this industry, the body and collision industry, there's not people coming up behind these guys. There's no young guys coming into the body world that I can see around us. And, I'm one of the shops around here that does pretty much a lot of the hard stuff. The other shop down the street, they had a truck for like 3 months and wouldn't even touch it. They were scared of it. It got towed in here. We'll fix it. Not a problem. But we have the right people and I pay right. That's why my labor rate's 185. My one body man, he makes, over $40 an hour hourly. I don't do flat rate here because the way this shop is set up with the technicians, with the insurance companies, with the waiting game, I mean, it might take you 3 months to get an approval on some of this shit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's a total. So then you fight with them to get, storage. So it's just like, it's one thing after another with this industry, and I really wish that, they have a cocktail hour on LinkedIn. Them people have a lot of good information and stuff like that. But I could really see how I don't really know where this industry is going. If people think the mechanical industry is bad, this industry is tough. And I don't know where it's going to maybe throw away cars, literally. They're already shitty anyway. I mean, but it's to the point now where they're totaling more cars than they're fixing.
It makes me think as you're talking, if enough people push back, if enough shops push back and said, no, we're not going to do it, they wouldn't have anywhere to send these places. But because there's so many people that are out there that don't know their numbers or they're operating off that scarcity of like, of course I'll do it because I got to eat, even though they don't realize they're going broker quicker by doing jobs that aren't making them money. There's still people out there that'll take it. So, but if everybody was like, just refused to do it, the insurance companies would be out at beckoning of you.
Yep, and I've heard stories where, it's against the law for all the shops to get together and say, okay, let's set the rate. But how is it okay for the insurance company to go around and say, we're going to go do a survey of your area and the prevailing wage is?
Yeah.
Okay, so we should get shop owners get together. And I know I've heard a couple stories where all these dealer guys get together and they just get in a room. They say, okay, we're going to set all our prices here. And everybody agrees. Then one guy goes out, go ahead and do ours $5 cheaper or $10 cheaper so we get all the work. Screw these people. If you're that cutthroat, fuck off.
Yep.
Fuck off. Everybody, you're trying to make it better for everybody.
Yep.
All around my shop in Farmington Hills, the collision or the mechanical shop, we're all within a couple bucks of each other. That's just the way it is,
Yep.
But unfortunately, the insurance companies set all these wages or all these different prices and stuff like that, labor prices all over the place. So in a lot of the shops, a lot of the dealers around here, I know they go ahead and give the guys a percentage of the insurance, what the insurance company pays. So they might make $14 an hour flat rate on, Allstate, 16 on State Farm. I could get Jim in here to talk more about it, but what's the point?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to change,
Yeah,
The bottom line is the insurance company is running all these people's shops. And it's not getting any better, and
When you talk about State Farm, how like you're not only not getting better, but it's like regressing.
yeah, they just literally sent out it was in the one collision group that they sent out a labor rate reduction on frame repair and something else, like $9 an hour. Like, how the hell, when everybody in their world knows you can be completely retarded and realize that right now shit's expensive. Prices have gone up. They have not gone down. So let me get this straight. Everything has gone up in the world except frame repair labor. All the guys who do frame repair and frame measuring and stuff like that said, hey, boss, we want to go ahead and take less money an hour so State Farm can lower their prices because we really feel bad for Jake at State Farm. That doesn't fucking happen. They're liars. They're just basically, they piss so many people up and they're denying people's claims like there's no tomorrow or cheating people. Like, I was State Farm since I've been 16 years old. I'm 54. I left them. And you want to hear the messed up part about it? I freaking went to Progressive. Progressive was one of the worst companies to deal with. We actually got a guy in our area. There's two of them in our area that actually have a brain in their head, and they work with us on this stuff, which is crazy. When you get an insurance adjuster nowadays to work with you as a shop owner and stuff, you're like, holy shit, the guy's normal.
Can I get your phone number?
Yeah.
Can I have you on speed dial?
Well, years ago, you used to have an adjuster that was assigned to an area.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening, I get too good to be good two friends with, the guy over there.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, I'm giving him kickbacks. He's going to let me do whatever I want. So then they decided after COVID, well, we're spending way too much money on these adjusters. Let's go ahead and fire all the guys with gray hair and lots of experience. Let's hire a bunch of kids, send them through class, and give them an app for their iPhone, put them behind a desk, and have customers send them pictures. And that's exactly what happens 9 times out of 10. Then they go, oh, here you go. Here's a 13. Oh, wait a second. It's not $1,300. You have a $500 deductible.
Jeez.
And then, they send them freaking $800 minus this, minus that. And like, guys like, the guy's already broke. So he's like, fuck it. I'll just cash a check. The dent on the car's not that bad. It's crazy. I mean, I could just keep going on and on about these trailers I get in. We rode a horse trailer. The front was dented. We had to replace the 2 panels on it. It was like $9,000. It was like, and 6,000 was parts, right? The guy goes, we spent a bunch of time researching it and stuff. The guy goes, it's not that bad. I'm going to keep the money. Paid us our $185.32 and left. So that shit happens all the time. And I'm sure, another thing is they changed it before, and I still make them adhere to this, is in the storage, when a car shows up here, storage starts on it from the day it shows up. So if we fix it, obviously there's no storage, right?
Yeah.
But if we don't fix it and it's sitting here for 14 or 15 days, it's $100 a day.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cost them $1,400. They want to negotiate. I had an ambulance in here that they wrote up the estimate. And I don't remember the exact numbers, but their estimate was like $2,500. But it needed a whole outside panel on it. And to do the outside panel, we had to take out all the medical equipment. So we got a hold of the company that installs the medical equipment. We're like, listen, we need an estimate for you to come out, take this all out because it's medical equipment. We're not qualified.
Yeah.
And then when we're done bumping it, we need you to put it back in and certify it. They're like, okay. So they gave us like a $7,000 estimate to do this. The insurance company wanted to pay us an hour to take the shit in and out on their estimate. So by the time we got done doing this estimate with all the right people working on this van, it was $20,000, 20-some grand. And they freaked out. Well, in the meantime, this thing had started sitting there. So every day or every other day, we go through the list and we send these people emails. You do realize your vehicle's been here 14 days. Last contact was this date. And we do it when we have the trail going on. So
that way they can't be all pissy and nobody ever messaged me. Or
so this thing sits here 120 days. We have the emails and we're talking to the fleet over the fleet guys are like, hey, I don't know. It's our insurance company. They're out of here. We're out of here. So finally they get down to the brass tacks. They're not going to fix it. And by this time, I think it was like the storage bill was like $12,000 on it. The guy from the insurance company had the balls to call me up and go, let's talk about how you can give me a discount. And I got an argument with that. I go, you've lost your fucking mind. I go, I have a list of emails I've sent you over and over again with no acknowledgement. Okay, a couple acknowledgments. Yeah, we're working on it. I said, would you like the list? No, I know, the guys over there at the fleet told me you were doing this and you're going through this. So I said, okay, so we're not giving you a break. Okay, this is how much it costs. And he was mad. We're never going to do business with you again. I go, who gives a fuck? You don't fix anything anyway. Like, what does it matter?
It's here for 120
he's
days.
like, I'm not happy. And he's being a complete asshole to me. So I said, well, sir, just remember one thing. He's like, go ahead. I said, tick tock, tomorrow's another 100. And hung up on him. Do you want to know something? Like 4 days went by before they picked it up. I think we ended up getting like 12. Yeah, we ended up getting like 12.6 or 12.5 or something out of this storage. But why not? Okay, we got to
just fixed it.
Yeah, I got another one. I'll tell you, I'm a reasonable guy. We had a truck that was a brand new truck. They went to dump the pup, and it was on a hill. It turned and it twisted, and the truck came out. The trailer came off, and it bent the frame like 8 inches on this brand new $130,000 semi tractor.
Holy shit!
So we write the estimate up. We go ahead and do it. And I think the estimate was like 14 grand. We ended up having to pull the frame like fucking nonstop. Like, oh my God. We got it back in this. We got it squared and everything. And we get it all done. We put it all back together. We started up and we heard clink, 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 ting. Bolt falls out from underneath the truck. We're like, that's a pretty big bolt. We start looking. The engine block was broken. Well, we couldn't see it.
Yeah.
So we called them up. We took it over to our sister shop, and they wrote it up for an engine. And it was a brand new truck, so it was a brand new engine. So they didn't have any. So by the time it done, it was like a $90,000 engine.
Oh my God.
So, well, rule of thumb is you get to make 20% on a sublet. That's the insurance company's rules. So I said, here you go, sir. Here's the estimate from the repair shop for the motor, and here's the 20% markup for us. He said, are you kidding me? I said, no, these are your rules, not ours. I said, we're putting our 20% on there. Is there anything you can do with me? I said, yeah, because this is a bad fucking deal for everybody. I'll take 10%. He says, that's reasonable. He paid me 10% on it. And the customer got his truck back and stuff like that. So I'm not all a bad guy, but I don't let these guys get away with it as much as other people do, I don't think. And, I know there's going to be body shop owners that are going to be like, oh, my God, this guy's right. There's going to be guys like, I do it this way. I make a ton of money. Good for you. Okay. I hope you do. But I'm just telling you what I see in this industry and what the word on the street is. And you talk to the paint manufacturers and everybody else, it's a tough fucking business. And it's not getting any easier. Think about it. Like I said at the start, the insurance company writes the estimate, usually off of pictures.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's no different than me holding up a piece of paper and drawing a freaking smiley face on it and go, okay, and then have a bunch of shit behind it and go, okay, can you write me an estimate on drawing a smiley face? Then you write the estimate, then I drop the piece of paper and there's all kinds of shit back there for another $5,000 worth of shit. You cannot, and people always say, well, there's going to be a supplement. Well, there could be a supplement, absolutely, until you get teardown time or you get this and you get that. The insurance companies always seem to have a way to win.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll tear a car down for 4 hours or whatever. Then they'll say, okay, we're going to total it. We're not going to pay you storage. And you're like, bullshit, we're going to pay you storage. And they, now I've heard through the grapevine and I've heard on some of these chat boards that they'll pay the storage fees and stuff. And then they'll go take you to court and say they paid them under duress.
Oh my God.
And they'll sue these little guys. I've heard them doing that too.
Well, because then they win either way because they're taking your money and taking you to court.
Mm-hmm. And you're broke because you don't know how to price shit, and they chisel you. I mean, the thing is with these adjusters, they'll go out onto the web and they'll find the cheapest part possible 4 states over and say, give us a receipt on shipping. And by the way, you can't make any money on shipping. So you'll call up, you'll get the okay, and say, fuck it, whatever. You'll call, 4 states or whoever, and they're like, we don't have that. That's a discontinued part. Okay, you don't have that fucking fender for a Peterbilt for $39? Because that's what the adjuster is like, oh, I found the cheapest one. So then you go, hey, they don't have that fender anymore. I found this one. It's $90-some or whatever. And they're like, well, that's too expensive. I found it for $38. Can you find a used one? So you spend a bunch of time chasing money around to save the insurance company money. And then there's, by the way, it comes back and is something wrong with it. Like we had cooling fans on cars are a real problem. So it was a Ford Edge, and we quoted it for all the aftermarket parts. We put the Ford OEM fan assembly in it for the air conditioning and stuff. We're not paying for that. Okay, well, I think you should because it's going to come back. Well, nope. They give you a warranty on it, but who's going to pay us to take it back in and out? Well, that's your shop. That's part of doing business. You have to warranty your stuff. So let me get this straight. I try to sell a good quality OEM part. You say, go ahead and call Beijing and get the shit box sent over here. We put it on, it fails. Well, you bought the part, you put it on the customer's car, you have to warranty it. But you told me where to buy it, and this is where I had to buy it. So it went bad twice before I said, fuck it, buy the Ford one, we'll eat it and get the lady on the road because she keeps coming back and getting mad at us. They won't pay paint blends. I had a guy with a Corvette in here, had PPE on the front of it. We took the PPE. We don't pay for PPE, State Farm. Okay, well, you don't pay for PPE. We need some blend time. You should be able to paint that bumper cover and not worry about blending it. I mean, so we blend it for free, so we don't, and I think that's their MO.
Yeah.
Because you as a shop, you're just like, well, fuck, I could not blend the guy's freaking $80,000 Corvette. He gets in here and it looks like Dolly Parton's car. Looks like that meme on TikTok when the guy's crying. Is like your painter with his paint match. He's crying and your service manager turns around and he's like, whoa. You don't want your customer to be your quality control. And you walk out there and go, well, yeah, I'm not a body man, but hey, this is two different colors. And we all get that plastic is different. What paints has a little bit different shade to it than metal. I get that, but not like it's red and blue. You know what I mean? Or especially these cars with the all different kinds of variations of paint on the flops, on the metallics and stuff like that. You kind of have to go a little bit further to get the car to look good so you can give it back to the customer in pre-loss condition. Like,
it's just crazy to me, these people's standards. Like, just they're purposely screwing people that are paying their premiums, that are allowing them to get their $40 million a year bonuses.
It's all about the money. It's just all about the money. I don't really want to get on here and sound like the body shop world is, absolutely gloom and doom, but it's gloom and doom. It's just, let's face it.
I don't want to say it's gloom and doom, but it's gloom and doom.
I just don't know how, after having mechanical shops and then having a body shop, I am telling you, it's the difference between a Rottweiler and a little Yorkie. I swear, it's crazy. It's just a different world. It's just, I don't even know what to say about it. The dealers probably do all right. Obviously, the big boys have it all figured out when they're in bed with, the insurance companies. They can make it work.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of stuff that's, moving up now. The ADAS thing is really pissing the insurance companies off because they have to pay for all these huge calibrations and they haven't figured out a way to fuck the shops yet. These guys are investing in all these ADAS calibrations machines and stuff like that. And it takes a lot of room to have the proper ADAS to calibrate, the level 4 and all that. And now the insurance companies, all the grumblings in the groups are like, holy shit, the insurance company's mad at me. Well, now AIs came out, so how these guys are getting around it, they have this, I forget the name of it. I had the guy on my podcast where you put the VIN number in and it scrubs the VIN and says, okay, these are the things you have to do if the collision happens. So these are the manufacturer's recommended repairs. So you're working in situations like, the insurance companies really can't argue that point with you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? This is what the manufacturer says it has to happen for safety.
Yep.
So that's a whole different ballgame.
They can't mess with safety.
Right, because, I remember a while ago, the big thing was you put too much paint on a bumper and it throws airbag timing off. You put the wrong kind of urethane in a windshield and the airbags go off. It doesn't push the windshield out at a fast enough time. These airbags reaction time inflate and deflate in 0.6 of a second, and if you change that because of the impact time of the bumper, the paint being too thick, all this crazy shit, you're just like, my God. So now here comes ADAS, and you got cars that are autonomous. So obviously the cameras have to really be straight. Right. So I know that in the One Trade magazine, they were talking about these guys that put these windshields in, that if you're taking a windshield out of a vehicle that has a camera, a forward-facing camera, you should do a front-end alignment on the vehicle before you pull the camera out of it. Mm-hmm. Because if the front-end alignment's off, say the truck's pointing to the right, you put the new camera in, and the angle sensor is not far enough off to really cause a problem. What it does is they calibrate the camera, and they might be calibrating the camera. They're supposed to be looking ahead. It might be looking to the right side of the road or the left side of the road.
Yep.
And they were talking about this, and I'm not going to go into the whole detail. So that's the kind of stuff that I think the insurance companies are kind of like really getting bent out of shape about, because they really can't skimp on the safety stuff. And I think that shop owners, as they get smarter, they need to really push this. Hey, we're talking about safety. We're talking about these aftermarket cameras getting put in these Hondas and stuff like that, or they're putting the wrong windshields in these cars. They're putting these aftermarket windshields, and the refractor, I forget what they call it. It doesn't see, it's not clear as the OEM, so it burns these cameras up.
Oh.
So these cameras are burning up, and they say certain cars are really bad, like Subaru and all that. So all these aftermarket parts are not working for the ADAS stuff because it's so sensitive. So the insurance companies are kind of have their hands full now figuring out how to deal with this.
That is hilarious.
Oh, I think it's great. Fuck them, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, the way this stuff. You think the mechanical repair world is complicated. This side of the world is really complicated, super complicated, and they don't want to pay you for it.
Oh, so you have to fight for everything.
You have to literally fight. Everything's a dogfight. I mean, you feel like you're freaking fighting a Japanese Zero. The guy's coming in here and you're trying to get him to go towards the ground so you can pull the stick up and blow his wings off. I mean, you literally have to beat these guys with knowledge and fight with these adjusters. And some of them just like flat ass won't. I had one semi truck, it was DHS. I mean, this job I think was like $40-some thousand. And we ended up going back and forth with a guy. We ended up getting what we wanted. And then he says, okay. I said, well, we need to put a front end alignment on there, an axle alignment on there, and a couple other things. He said, that's no problem. At the end of the job, just get it done and send me the receipts for a supplement, and we'll take care of it. Take care of you. No problem. I have the email. We get all done with the job. I take it down to the other shop. They align the axles. They align the front end. They give me the bill. It's like $600. I can't remember whatever else we did to the truck. It was a couple years ago. I sent it to the adjuster. He said, yeah, I'm not paying you anymore. I said, I have the email. I said, yes, sue me. He said, we've spent enough money on this job. We're done. We're not paying you a dime more. I said, but you told me we were going to do the align. Yeah, tough shit. Don't know what to tell you. I'm like, you're a fucking dick. Yeah, I'm still not paying you. Hung up on me. Wouldn't answer my phone calls after that.
Wow.
So what do I do? Go get a lawyer for $600?
Yeah.
Or do I just eat the $600?
Wow.
So I made the customer pay it. I said, here's the email. Here it is. Your insurance company won't pay. Here's the email back, him stating he won't pay after he said he will pay. If you want your truck back, you're going to have to pay me. Then the guy blows a fucking fit that I'm a crook. How am I a crook? I did everything I was supposed to. I had confirmation. I had this. No matter what, he still hated me.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But I wasn't going to let him walk away with $600 on the job.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to do shit like that, And sometimes, I don't let, another thing I'll tell you that I would highly hope that most shops would start doing it. Don't pay these tow bills when they come in. Tell the tow company or the customer to pay the insurance company.
Yep.
Why should you as a shop owner freaking pay the tow bill? And then they say, well, that's fine. We don't pay markup on tow bills. No, guys online, I'll be like, well, we always mark up tow bills. Yeah, that's great until you get caught.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Take a tow bill and reduplicate it and add $50 to it? So you get caught. They call the tow company. How much was this tow? And they say, okay, it was $300. Well, they're charging me $350. Here's the receipt. Well, that's not our receipt. Do you really want to go through all that for $50? So the easiest way for us to do is, hey, no problem. Get it towed in, but unfortunately, you're going to have the, you're going to have to pay the tow company yourself. And it's just.
Well, and you talked about too, like when you do that, now the tow bill is attached to your invoice, and it looks like your price is even higher too. So there's another piece there.
I ran into that in the repair world. I make them do the same thing in the repair shop. I make the customer pay the tow company. Because that way I don't have to go, hey, I need an hour diagnostic on this truck, which is $217.
Yeah.
And, it's got an $800 tow bill, which is not uncommon. Only thing the customer hears is, he's charging me $900 to check out my truck while it won't start. No, sir. By that time, he's screaming. I mean, I've had that more than once. So I just don't deal with tow bills because tow companies are expensive because tow trucks are expensive now. Yeah. All these specialized cars and all the bullshit on these cars, it's hard to tow them.
Oh, that makes sense.
I mean, the days of us backing up and putting a sling on the front bumper and lifting the car up are over.
Yeah.
A lot of these cars have to go on flatbeds or wheel dollies or, there's a lot of different stuff that goes on. So the tow trucks are super expensive. So, the repair business is a very interesting business, and we can get Jim in here and start, because I think we should probably skip down the old body shop lane and start, really talking about this stuff in depth. I just kind of skimmed over a bunch of it. We can go into depth, get Jim in here and get Pat in here, where these guys have been taxed and, been in it for a long time too, and all the shit that goes on, and it's a tough business, but I mean, obviously people make money at it. I just don't know how much money at it. Because I know around us, a lot of the body shops are getting bought out and they're happy. I've talked to some of these guys, like, it was the best day of my life when I got rid of that fucking shop. And I don't have to deal with the insurance companies and the checks and this and that.
Yeah.
It's just horrible. So I'm just kind of glad that, I get to talk about it. And I'm glad that I switched it up a little bit, that I don't have to really, really worry about the insurance companies.
Well, that's cool. You talk about adding the trailers and how that was really instantly picked up.
Yeah. And I started advertising and stuff like that. And that's kind of like, well, honestly, if this place morphed into a 100% trailer parts place and trailer repair, I'd be okay with that. Because you're sitting there like doing a job, like say you're sitting there, bumping and painting a side of a van, and maybe it's a $3,500 job. And, it takes your guy 4 days to do it. You run into chemical problems because, you had a problem with the batch of the primer or the paint, which happens a lot.
Yeah.
Or one of the other guys, you sprayed WD-40 in the shop. And all of a sudden you paint this thing, it's got fish eyes. And all of a sudden you're standing and you're painting it again. And us in the paint world, it's not an absolute. We all know it. As hard as we try, shit happens to the paint. It doesn't come out right. We're wet sanding. We're doing it. We're whatever. When you could do a trailer for $3,500 and have it done in 5 hours, and you don't worry about the paint, you don't worry about this. It's the brakes work or they don't work, right?
Yeah.
So the profit margin's higher on the trailer repair versus is on this bump of the side of this van, and there's a lot less skill has to be involved and a lot less uncertainty of fish eyes or runs or whatever you want, dirt nips, whatever. What I'm trying to get to is like, how hard is it to do this job to get a little bit of money when you can do this job and it's a lot easier and you get a lot more money? You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
And that's kind of what I think people, one good thing that changed a friend of mine's body shop is Bring a Trailer. These guys buy these cars from Bring a Trailer, or they're getting ready to put them up on Bring a Trailer.
Yeah.
So they bring them to the body shop. They're like, hey, I need you to paint this. I need you to do this. And they pay the over-the-counter price. I mean, in a body shop, that's what keeps a lot of the body shops alive is CP, customer pay. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't do it. Now, in the truck world, they do because they're like, my commercial insurance is so expensive. I'm going to go ahead and have you, just how much is it for you to do? A lot of times they're like, I don't have $25,000 because to put a roof on my box truck. A lot of these guys will drive, or there's a bridge in Dexter around here, and I think there's one in Pontiac.
Yeah.
They freaking drive these things and rip the
you hear this happen all the time. It's
fucking
crazy.
lid off these things. Well,
Yeah.
they just did it over there at, what's that road with the C? Croswell, right over there.
Yeah.
The guy hit the bridge. Now that road's Crawford or whatever.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking. Yeah.
Yeah, they hit the bridge and stuff like that. Them are the trucks that come here. And the thing is, they don't hit the brakes. For some reason, when they hit the gas. So these trucks literally look like they were like somebody took to a can opener to them. And they show up and they're like, this is great in the box truck world. These guys will call me and they go, hey, I need a corner cap on my truck. I hit a tree or I hit an overhang. We're like, okay, bring it by. We'll look at it. Okay. Yeah, the corner cap is gone. So is half the fucking roof and the upper rail. So like, okay, we could put a corner cap in there, but we only can attach it on one side instead of 4 because the rest of where it's supposed to get riveted to is fucking gone. I mean, I'm telling you, it's crazy. These truck drivers, when people say it, I mean, a lot of these truck drivers have their head up their ass. I had another guy bring his truck in and he said, I'm having problems seeing at night. I said, okay. He's like, can you check it out? It was a Zuzu. They hit something. The whole headlight was gone on the left side. There's a hole. I said, I'm not going to charge you an estimate fee or anything. I'm just going to throw this out here. Your fucking whole light's gone. Your whole corner of your cab is gone.
There's a slight problem.
And I put him on my Facebook. Dumbest customer of the year. He wins. I'm having trouble seeing at night, sir. Did you not notice whatever you hit and your headlight was gone that... maybe having no headlight on that side could be a problem?
It's hilarious.
I mean, we go through shit like that all the time. It's like, oh my God, you know, I just don't get it.
Some of the corners, I need the corner repaired. The corner, you have no top whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like literally like that. And they lie to you. They lie to you.
Like
go,
you're not going to see it. When
can you give me an estimate over the phone? Well, yeah. Well, no, I can't. You know, no, I can't give you an estimate over the phone. Okay. If I send you a picture, sure. Well, it's really not that bad. Okay, they send me a picture, and it's fucking half their truck is gone. Yeah, I hate to tell you, bud, it's really bad. It could not get any worse, I don't think. Then you never hear from them because they're like, you know, what do you do? I mean,
yeah.
a lot of times we could patch them back together, but, you know, that falls under the DOT standards, okay? Once again, I'm not going to sit there and patch your truck back together to save you money when it's going to be illegal. You know, that's a whole nother problem. So, you know, for us being in the truck, you know, world, you got to kind of go with the DOT compliance laws. You know, we can't go ahead and put self tappers everywhere and do this type of shit. You know, because somebody gets an accident and it's not right. Not to mention the top rails on a box truck hold all the weight. Most people don't realize that they hold all the weight. So if they're compromised, you have to replace them. You could weld them. There's procedures depending on the manufacturer, but it's just it never stops. It's funny. I mean. And then people are saying, well, man, you know, can you just put one panel on it? They're 4x8 panels, right? They're like 350 rivets, you got to realize. So you have to have a guy on the outside, you have to have a guy on the inside doing one rivet at a time. They're like, well, why would you charge me 4 hours to do a panel? Because I have to have two guys. It'll take them 2 hours, you know, two guys, 2 hours apiece to sit there and put all these rivets in and put this panel on. Well, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of rivets.
You know, it's a lot of rivets, you know. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm at. But I think we should do a whole series on body shop stuff and have Jim and Pat and talk about the different stuff and go from there.